The things I'm hearing about the Taylor Swift album are not good. The glimpses that I've gotten, the clips of songs, certain lyrics, not very good. And apparently, it's created a kind of existential crisis. A lot of people who are Swifties even are feeling the heat. They're not very happy with what they got. Actually, I saw a bunch of funny TikToks. This is one of them.
I can't believe I'm even saying this, but I've been questioning things. This used to really touch something in my soul, but it's kind of starting to feel like it's just all about money. All my friends are so devoted and I don't want to lose them. Who needs that many private jets? Constantly being sold all these different versions of things and we're just supposed to buy all of it. It feels like I'm in not a cult, but a toxic group. A toxic group with a lot of blonde women who love wearing sweaters.
Yeah, this is the this is the degree of like what I've been seeing as well. Swiftie reaction videos that people were like, this is the same person who wrote Folklore, you know. So what could it be that she's saying that's so bad? Well, honestly, some of it is really, it's eye-catching, let's say, in terms of like, you know, some people try to work with like irony and silliness and it doesn't necessarily come off well because if the integrity isn't there behind it, it can feel very cynical. It can feel very like bizarre for no good reason. And I think that happens at points with this Taylor Swift album. And some of the things that I've heard also feel not flattering towards her personality. We all know that Taylor Swift is a billionaire who destroys the environment with her private jets, who is very commandeering of a large audience of mostly white women across the world, especially in the United States, who takes up a massive amount of space in pop culture, especially in what gets covered in the mainstream, to the point where now she's dominating NFL discussion. She's using her husband, the tight end Travis Kelce of the Kansas City Chiefs, for promotion. I mean, they're using each other for promotion. They're showing up, doing like little spots for NFL commercials or for like engagement. Like she announced this album on his podcast. It's really something. I'm spiritually Israeli. I'm an Israeli and this is my music. Yeah, for those who don't get that joke, sorry, it's too much to explain. And this is the thing, like, we've been saying for a long time that the Taylor Swift thing is very cynical. We've been saying for a long time that Taylor Swift writes some bad music. It's kind of like Drake. She's very similar to Drake in that she puts out a lot of work, a lot of albums, especially lately, and there will be a variety of different flavors of songs, genres, styles, and when you see the lyrics, sometimes you'll see stuff that gets memed to death because it's bad. But in between those moments of bad or those moments of controversial, there's a lot of blandness, a lot of mid, or a lot of just stuff that can go either way, right? And people enjoy it for a variety of reasons. Taylor Swift brings them to a place of nostalgia. Again, we're mostly talking about white women here. It gives them a sense of nostalgia. It relates to their sense of white youth that they've experienced, you know, being a young white woman, a young white girl. It gives them a sense of innocence, a sense of bubbliness, and it's a way that people connect. Like, it really is kind of like a religion in that it brings people together, particularly, again, white women, but not always just white women. It brings them together to watch Eras Tour movies, to watch Life of a Showgirl movie premiere, to listen to the albums, to talk about stuff, and of course it brings people together online, oftentimes in ways that are toxic, but you know, sometimes in ways that are just kind of innocuous. Sometimes you have yourself a cult which has a figurehead, a cult of personality, let's say, and it brings a lot of people together united by the idea of a person, the idea of this star who represents all of these different things. And what actually is happening with that cult of personality, particularly with how people are receiving it within the group, doesn't necessarily reflect the reality other people are seeing outside of it. It's a lot of words from me to describe basically what I've been thinking about with Taylor Swift for the past few years, for the past 10, 15 years. I've mostly ignored her. I've mostly avoided her. I've mostly just tried to avoid discourse about her and try not to get jumped online. But especially with the heaping of praise that has been put on her as like this amazing songwriter, as well as the heaping of like forced like America's sweetheart imagery that she receives in the media, it's impossible not to see her. It's impossible not to have opinions about her. And if you're not hooked on what she does or ambivalent, it's impossible not to just feel aggrieved. Like, there's so much great music that has come out this year alone. There are so many great artists out there, and most of them struggle to pay the bills at a consistent level. Some of them, you know, get decent income but struggle with their labels or struggle with getting the right kind of perception, let's say. And then you have this person who is dominant who has all of these resources, who has all this money, all this attention and fame and fandom, and consistently just keeps putting out what feels like slop. There's no other word for it. It's slop. That's my feeling about it, and I know a lot of people enjoy her music, so I'm not trying to just insult your taste, but it seems like even the people who enjoy her music have come to a bit of a turning point when it comes to this Life of a Showgirl album. And I'm going to read the lyrics. Obviously the lyrics are not the music themselves, the songs themselves. If you like the way it sounds, that's one thing. I can't play the music, copyright issues, but I also just want to get at the text. Like, what is it she's saying? What is it that she has to say? This amazing songwriter, let's say. What is it that she has to say, this billionaire who has multiple friends that are Trump supporters, including Brittany Mahomes, the wife of Patrick Mahomes? What is this incredibly famous person who has been given all this adulation and resources? What does she have to say about the world that we're currently living in? And I have a feeling that the answer will be underwhelming. Let's say that. It's quantity over quality, and that's happened in the music industry a great deal, and especially when you have already the ability to just pay for people to praise you and pay for people to impress upon others that this music is great. Why make great music? It's a waste of time, right? Even if lyrics aren't everything about music overall, that's always been her thing. That's right, Soledad. Like, her lyrics have been something that she's hung her hat on, right? That's been the thing that everybody says, this is the Taylor Swift signature. So I have here a Genius article. Take a deep breath. It's finally here. Read all the lyrics to Taylor Swift's new album, The Life of a Showgirl. It's interesting, right? This is exactly what reflects like what the media does now. Like the Rolling Stone magazine gave this a 5. They also gave Dead Poets Society, Tortured Poets Department a 5. They consistently give her like scores that only like classic albums get. For albums that, like, you don't have to drag it to this degree, right? But there's just such an emphasis when it comes to reviewing Taylor Swift in the media, both from the fandom and from, you know, the people who benefit from getting the fandom's clicks, to just heap her with praise and to stay on her good side. So this is where music journalism is at. As a former music journalist, I could have told you that this is where we were going like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It's not good. It's not good. But again, we're here to read the lyrics. We're here to talk about what she has to say. No. Okay, there we go. So let's get back to, it says read all the lyrics and then it plays like a thing. Here we go. I was in the wrong player. Okay. I'm doing great, guys. Yo, Max Martin's on this, Shellback, and Taylor Swift. Rolling Stone is incredibly washed, right? Too late, copyrighted. Am I already done? Am I done? Don't scare me like that. If I'm done, I'm done. Don't scare me like that. Am I actually gone? Guys, don't scare me like this. I don't think I'm gone. I think I'm good. Sorry, Swift Corp now owns your soul. It's over for me. It's never been more over. Sorry guys, my nose was also itchy, so if I rub my nose, just know it's allergy season. I'm trying my best. We cooked, but we not cooked. Okay, I'm good. Brother, there's no reason to put yourself through this. You are not gone. Okay. I don't know why you said it like that, but okay. All right, let's read the lyrics. Fate of Ophelia. So, Ophelia is a character from Hamlet. I loved Hamlet. I haven't watched it in a long time. I haven't read it in a long time, but great play. I'd be interested to see how this amazing songwriter tackles the theme of Ophelia's descent into madness, as worded by this description from Genius. I heard you calling on the megaphone. You want to see me all alone. As legend has it, you are quite the pyro. You light the match to watch it blow. Now, is that pyro like pyromaniac? Oh, is this like an internal reference? So these are unreviewed annotations from fans. On Genius, you can kind of just put what you want as the annotation and people can just approve it or not. This has like 29 upvotes, and apparently this is a reference to Kelsey's fiery personality and the duo's explosive nickname TNT. I'm going to choose to believe that that's not true. It just seems like a verse that's saying, hey, you're a fiery person. I don't really know what it's trying to say. Let's just keep reading. And if you'd never come for me, I might have drowned in the melancholy. I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I, right before you lit my sky. Okay, this is about Travis Kelce. It's about her partner. Maybe we can just read it as a love song, right? And try to block out the context of knowing it's this like Travis Kelce. Is Travis Kelce MAGA? I don't know for sure. She's friends with certain MAGA NFL wives, so I'm already just not happy with what this is doing with Ophelia as a theme, because Ophelia, if you remember from Hamlet, was essentially scorned by Hamlet, who she loved, who she was told was in love with her based off of his erratic behavior. behavior. But as it turned out, Hamlet was so consumed with his task that he essentially rejected her fiercely, told her she should go to a nunnery. It wasn't just this heartbreak that broke Ophelia, but also there's allusions to her potentially having become pregnant after they had a positive interaction later on in the text, if I can recall correctly. And also there's a sense of her being driven mad by the situation. You know, eventually Hamlet kills her dad. And that I don't know if you could say going crazy, you know, so to speak, or losing your sanity after that is confusing. You know, I think anybody would be empathetic towards that. But what the text kind of says to me is it's a commentary, Hamlet, on how we perceive madness. Whereas in the case of Hamlet, he had gone mad in a way that had been portrayed as like brooding and intellectual and is perceived that way. For the case of Ophelia, it's perceived as, well, she's kind of delirious and she's just grieving, this very effeminate sort of sensibility, a woman gone mad by heartbreak, a woman gone mad by grief. And instead of people really understanding that she was being put in this really messed up situation, constantly looking for some type of reprieve, and not only was heartbroken, but was also just like gaslit, like by her environment over and over again, to the point where she just essentially withdrew from being her regular self. Positive interaction. That's the best way I'll describe it. It seems like they probably seemed to fuck later on in the text. I don't know if that's true. So you guys let me know. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that Ophelia is this really powerful character that speaks to a woman who is sort of damned by patriarchy to have her concerns be completely shut away. And even in the face of her breaking in front of people, they simply take it as something for granted because, of course, you know, she's a heartbroken woman. It's indicated. Okay, thank you, April. So for Taylor Swift to be taking this in the direction of, I was going mad because I was so alone, and then you, my tight end boyfriend, Travis Kelce, you brought me to myself, and you saved me. That's gross. That feels gross to me, man. All that time I sat alone in my tower, you were just honing your powers. Now I can see it all. Late one night, you dug me out of my grave and saved me from the fate of Ophelia. I just don't like I don't like that. A man can't save you from the fate of Ophelia. A man puts you in the fate of Ophelia. What Ophelia needed was a validation that went beyond romance. What Ophelia needed was understanding and like security, and like for her dad not to be murdered by the person that she was told loved her and then impregnated her. That's not the fate of Ophelia, you being alone. It's just the way sometimes I'm already getting agitated. The way that sometimes we're in this society and we construe being single as a tragedy. The way that we construe, like, as a woman, oh, when you're alone and you don't trust people, like that's a sign that you're going mad. No, that's a reaction that can have positives and negatives, but it's just understandable based off of living in this society. It's low-key giving feminist, quote-unquote, retelling of a Greek myth. Right. Like, but it makes it less feminist, right? That's exactly the point with what happens with a lot of those quote-unquote feminist retellings. I mean, we talk about, you know, the terms like male-centered and terms like the male gaze and women only focusing on love and all those things, but it's just... in 2025, like this is how you choose to tell your own story, is to just center it on a man saving you from being single. I just don't get it. I'm turning into Kamala Harris. I just don't get it. Thank you as an Arrow Ace person. You're welcome, Caroline. No, you don't understand. She's a feminist icon, according to my sisters. Yeah, I get the Joe Alwyn point, Soledad, you know. You save me from the fate of Ophelia, keep it 100 on the land, the sea, the sky. Pledge allegiance to your hands, your team, your vibes. Don't care where the hell you've been, cause now you're mine. It's about to be the sleepless night you've been dreaming of, the fate of Ophelia. I feel gross reading this. I feel uncomfortable. This is like the poetry that, you know, a 17-year-old high school girl writes to her high school quarterback boyfriend about prom night. But Taylor Swift is 35 and she's a billionaire, and she destroys the environment with her planes by flying around on private jets. Like, it just feels fashy to me. You know how like a lot of the fashy America MAGA culture stuff has been very focused on reinforcing the ideas we had as kids, reinforcing the ideas that we grew up with about strong men and delicate women and living off the land, right? Just like these completely immature, uninformed ideas, like allowing these wealthy white Americans to live out that fantasy, even though it's clearly not doing them very well in the first place. Stuff I talk about in my recent video essay about the MAGA movement. That's what this is giving. It's like, why is this what I want to read about in 2025? Like, people are dying, you know what I mean? Trad wife era, like, that's how it feels, right? That's how it feels. And like, look, again, there's some like little multi-syllabic rhyme schemes here. Land, sea, sky, hands, team, vibes. What was the other one? Holding your powers, alone in my tower. Like, she's like just playing with words a little bit in ways that suggest she has some skill with how to write lyrics. But the themes and the message are just gross. They're just gross to me, you know? And also, like, she's talking about, like, get ready because I'm going to fuck you good. Like, that's what she's saying. It's about to be the sleepless night you've been dreaming of, the fate of Ophelia. That's a crazy thing to say. Ophelia was impregnated by Hamlet. That's why she gave herself the herb that, like, is what you take when you're pregnant to have an abortion. Because she's been impregnated by a dude who killed her dad. You know, like, what's going on? Being focused on love is one thing, but if this is the way that you're writing about love, that like essentially you're rewriting Ophelia's story to be like, oh, isn't it sad that she was single? Like, what? People Care now says, okay, I think you're focusing too much on her planes. She also destroys the environment with multiple versions. What's going to happen with all the variants, most of which won't be played once? That's another thing. That's a really gross music industry trend that she's proliferated. Yeah, why would she choose Ophelia other than just it rhymes with what was the word? Dreaming of? I feel like it just seems sloppy to me. It seems like, okay, it sounds like something cool. I'm referencing Shakespeare. People are going to eat up a song called The Fate of Ophelia. And then she was like, okay, but I have to actually write a song about it. Well, maybe I'll devote it to Travis Kelce and just make it about how I'm going to fuck him. Like, I don't know what's going on. It just feels like, yeah, fast fashion, vinyl sales type shit. Okay, verse 2, the eldest daughter of a nobleman. Okay, we're getting some context. Ophelia lived in fantasy. But love was a cold bed full of scorpions. The venom stole her sanity. I mean, okay, I guess that's a summary of what happened with Ophelia. It feels like it's just written to focus on the rhymes and not like what the themes of her like experience were, like the character. Like, love was a cold bed full of scorpions. Is that like a thematic reference that I'm missing, guys? Like, I'm not sure if I'm missing something, but Ophelia wasn't really living in fantasy. She was being gaslit. Do you know what I mean? She was being gaslit and her life fell apart in front of her and nobody took her seriously. That just feels like a really dismissive way to talk about a really interesting character. And if you'd never come for me, I might have lingered in purgatory. You wrap around me like a chain, a crown, a vine, pulling me into the fire. I mean, it's just, okay, like you're saving me. Like, I don't see... It just feels like you're saying I was heartbroken like Ophelia, then you saved me from being heartbroken by loving her, by loving me. Joel Alwyn's gonna be in the Hamlet movie? Someone said she chose Ophelia because Joel Alwyn's gonna be in the Hamlet movie? I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna get into this. I'm an Israeli singer, and this is my interpretation of Ophelia's story. No, this is giving like spiritually Israeli, like it's correct. And then we have the chorus again. Oh, come on. 'Tis locked inside my memory. So she's using 'tis because, you know, Shakespeare says 'tis. And only you possess the key. I'm seeing a pattern here, right? Before I finish the bridge. She's using these references and these rhyme schemes that give the affect that she is saying something very profound. In a way, it's like what I do all the time, which is use big words and talk pretentious to sound like I'm smarter than I am. But the problem is, they don't feel like they're very relevant. They feel like they're trying to get at the aesthetic of something without having the substance. She's completely misinterpreted Ophelia's story, and using these clever modalities or whatever, these clever songwriting tools, isn't going to cover up for the fact that ultimately you're writing a song about how you were down bad because you were single and your hot football player boyfriend saved you and now you're gonna fuck him. Like, I don't even know if I should say that there's something wrong with that. I guess there is. What's really wrong about it is using Ophelia. Like, why does Ophelia have to be in this? We've talked about it enough. Like, Ophelia has been this really important character for analysis in Shakespeare's work for many, many years. And she's whittled her story down to just, she was heartbroken because love was venomous to her. You know? It just doesn't... He's not hot enough to debase yourself like this. No white man is. You know, if we're being honest. No longer drowning and deceived, all because you came for me. So, okay, and then Ophelia drowns, so sure. No longer drowning and deceived, all because you came for me. If you would have just kept it with these two lines, I guess those would be the best lines in the thing. But it's still, it's like, it's so offensive to me that it would be a man saving you from Ophelia's fate. It's offensive to me. I'm sorry. It just demeans what's really heartbreaking and important about Ophelia's story. So that's the lyrics of The Fate of Ophelia. The chorus repeats. We're off to a great start here. Is the next song Elizabeth Taylor? Yes. Okay. She sounds like a Live, Laugh, Love quote. Listen, first of all, Live, Laugh, Love is 1,000 times more powerful of a quote than what Taylor Swift writes about, because Live, Laugh, Love is very succinct. 3 words, you know, and it says a lot. That's why Earl Sweatshirt named his album Live, Laugh, Love, okay? So that's the really funny part, though, is that someone like Taylor Swift, to your point, represents the kind of person who shapes their whole worldview around, like, being very deep because they quote Live, Laugh, Love and, like, the millennial script on pictures on their wall, you know? It just feels wrong. Mind you, this is a song about Travis Kelce, and, like, that's the hard part. Okay, so Elizabeth Taylor, her name's Taylor, so, okay. Elizabeth Taylor, do you think it's forever? That view of Portofino was on my mind when you called me at the Plaza Athenae. I actually don't know how to pronounce that. Somebody else will have to correct my pronunciation. If I listened to the song, I'd know how she pronounces it. The Plaza Athenae? Yeah, probably, because she rhymes. Ooh, oftentimes it doesn't feel so glamorous to be me. Again, like, I should just not say the ooh parts, because that's going to make it sound even worse. It's a song. They're not poems. I'm reading lyrics, so just bear in mind, maybe it sounds great when you play the record. All the right guys promised they'd stay. Under bright lights they withered away, but you bloom. Portofino was on my mind, and I think you know why. Okay, so I mean, she's just recalling some type of memory of being in this fancy place. Athene, okay. I find that this is not really a compelling start to a verse. Maybe it's going to burst into making things make sense, but it just kind of seems like you're referring to something, wink wink. And the first 2 songs, like, it seems like it's going down this path. It's like, wink wink, Travis, you know what I'm talking about. And, like, the point is, like, it's fan service. So as a Taylor Swift fan who's totally bought into the TNT hype or whatever, you're hearing these songs, you're reading these lyrics, and you're like, oh, it's so cute. Oh, I wonder what that means. Like, I wonder what they're talking about. Oh my gosh, they have such a special bond, right? But as songs, what do they give me? Like, okay, whatever. You want to make, like, veiled references to things that only you and Travis will know, maybe? I don't know. It just feels like it's not giving me much. And if your letters ever said goodbye, I'd cry my eyes violet, Elizabeth Taylor. So I guess Elizabeth Taylor has been said to have had violet eyes. Taylor's eyes are famously blue. Again, like, you're referring to things that are outside of the text, right? So you're a Taylor Swift fan, you hear her say, I'm crying my eyes violet, Elizabeth Taylor, and you're like, wow, that's super deep because her eyes are blue, and I know this because I'm a fan of Taylor Swift. And also Elizabeth Taylor, I've looked it up, they said her eyes were violet. So if Taylor Swift cried, her eyes would get bloodshot red and they'd be violet because her eyes are blue, but also Elizabeth Taylor has violet eyes. Wow, crazy double entendre. But it only works if you know that Taylor Swift's eyes are blue and care about that sort of thing. Not to say that it's a bad line, but again, like, this is what she platforms, like, herself as a great songwriter on. It's stuff like this. And ultimately, it's very fan servicey stuff, right? References to things, Plaza Athene and stuff like that. Stuff that's wink wink. Tell me for real, do you think it's forever? Been number 1, but I never had 2, and I can't have fun if I can't have you, I presume, is, yeah, what you're trying to say. Okay. Be my New York when Hollywood hates me. Do not be her New York. Leave New York out of this, bro. You're only as hot as your last hit, baby. Been number 1, but I never had 2, and I can't have fun if I can't have you. Okay? Hey, what could you possibly get for the girl who has everything and nothing all at once? Babe, I would trade the Cartier for someone to trust. Just kidding. Okay, so Cartier and Elizabeth Taylor, that was a thing. We hit the best booth at Musso and Frank's. Is that in New York? Oh, that's in Cali. That's in Cali. Okay. They say I'm bad news. I just say thanks. And you look at me like you're hypnotized, and I think you know why. And if you ever leave me high and dry. Oh, come on. This is not a reference to the Radiohead song High and Dry. It's a phrase. You've just said it's a phrase that people use. Why would it be a reference to the... Okay. I cry my eyes violet, Elizabeth Taylor, da da da. All my white diamonds and lovers are forever. White diamonds. Is that Elizabeth Taylor's thing? Okay, yeah. White Diamonds by Elizabeth Taylor. And the paper's on the screen and in their minds. All my white diamonds and lovers are forever. Don't you ever end up anything but mine. Okay, so we're getting plays on stuff that if you're a Taylor Swift fan, you really like. Oh, Travis Kelce. Oh, her relationship. And oh, her blue eyes, right? And then you're getting signals at old Hollywood legends, famous white people of the past. Again, like not beating necessarily the conservative vibe allegations, because it's the kind of thing that, okay, I don't want to get too reachy or whatever, but it's well known. Again, like a big part of this MAGA culture war thing is making reference to older celebrities, right? And kind of having this fawning praise over them or idolizing them, wanting to be like them, right? And trying to be classy in that way. And so she's making all these references to these very like white celebrity things. This place I stayed in Italy, this hotel, and Elizabeth Taylor, and these diamonds, and you know stuff that Elizabeth Taylor liked, and I'm also living. But it's I love you. So I hate it, to be honest, but it's not for me. I think the thing that makes me uncomfortable is not the song in and of itself. Like if it was just this song with none of this other context, it'd be like, okay, whatever, just clever little love song, a little bit kind of. But again, like you're not beating necessarily the MAGA allegations when you're continuing to make these references and talk about luxury in a time when a lot of people are not able to afford groceries, and make these references to old Hollywood and compare yourself to old Hollywood and compare yourself to you know the aesthetics of famous white literature. You know, it just feels like you're putting yourself in a certain direction that to me would make me uncomfortable if I was, for instance, a POC fan of Taylor Swift. But, you know, whatever. I might be reaching. Here's Opalite. Elizabeth Taylor was also married to a Republican and hosted Republicans. You know, that's probably not even a coincidence that she's referring to her. The second these people go to Europe, they start name dropping. I know, right? It's like a classic thing that white people do. They are obsessed with Europe, and they're obsessed with what being in Europe and being of European like luxury, what that signals about them, you know? She is billionaire. It's not going to be relatable, is it? No, it's not. It's not going to be very relatable, but then why do I have to pay attention to it, right? I'm saying like I'm paying attention to it because this is what's pushed as like the big pop album everybody should pay attention to. She's the great songwriter of our generation, the great pop artist of our generation. Rolling Stone 5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, like okay, what's what she's saying? And what she's saying is she's flexing her wealth. She's flexing her relationship with another wealthy person. She's referencing all these things that white people love, all this white luxury that she's putting herself in league with, you know. When will Taylor sing about rural Poland? You know, I think that would be interesting if the stuff we talked about with Europe was like how actual people lived in Europe, like indigeneity in Europe, the legacies of populations that were condensed into European nation states. I don't know. These are the kinds of things that I would be much more interested in if I visited Europe, but whatever. Oneros, I think A Question of Identity by James Baldwin captures that concept well of wanting to be enveloped in European culture, identity, etc. Great rec. Opalite, I had a bad habit of missing lovers past. My brother used to call it eating out of the trash. It's never gonna last. I thought my house was haunted. I used to live with ghosts. And all the perfect couples said when you know, and when you don't, you don't. Okay, so referring to... Again, like a lot of this is like, I used to be, you know, in this position and then I met you, right? And all of the foes and all of the friends have seen it before. They'll see it again. Life is a song. It ends when it ends. I was wrong. But my mama told me it's all right. You were dancing through the lightning strikes, sleepless in the onyx night. But now the sky is opalite. Oh, my lord. Never made no one like you before. You had to make your own sunshine, but now the sky is opalite. Oh. So again, like a thing that Taylor Swift does is that she'll use these words that are not commonly used, like to show her expansive vocabulary. Instead of saying the sky is black or the sky is brown, the sky is onyx, and now the sky is opalite. But ultimately what she's saying is like, even just in between all of these big words that she's using, is like, you know, I used to have love issues and now things are good because I met my man, you know, and that's not the deepest thing I've ever heard. You know, you should watch the Swiftologist's vids for some context. It makes sense about her past. I mean, I'm going into this just with my own thing, but I'm not against like watching other people's analyses. I think that would end up stretching this out a lot, but I'm just coming at this from the perspective again of like, what is it that she's writing about ultimately? Whatever somebody who's a fan of hers could say and who loves these records can say, she's ultimately just writing about herself and her love life and how things are good for her and her interest in luxury and in European aesthetics and in classic aesthetics. And that in and of itself just feels like not at all what people need. Maybe some people will take this as inspirational, sure. You couldn't understand it while you felt alone. You were in it for real. She was in her phone and you were just a pose. Is this about Travis Kelce's ex? And don't we try to love? We give it all we got. You finally left the table. And what a simple thought. You're starving till you're not. So maybe she's talking about herself. Maybe she's talking about Travis Kelce and his ex, like Kayla Nicole or whatever. Feels like, I don't know. I'm giving this a lot of energy. It's like you're talking about somebody, your partner's ex, when you're making a song about like them. And like, it's not like you're describing like, oh, this person was seriously wicked to you. It's like, oh, she was in her phone and she didn't appreciate you. It just feels a little bit, again, like high school behavior, you know? And all the foes and all the friends, da 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 da. Bridge. This is just a storm inside a teacup. So that's a phrase that means unnecessary anger and worry about something unimportant. But shelter here with me, my love. Thunder like a drum. This life will beat you up, up, up. This is just a temporary speed bump. But failure brings you freedom and I can bring you love, 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 love. Don't you sweat it, baby. It's all right. Da 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 da. Okay, so just more love songs about Travis Kelce. There's not a lot of substance there beyond like pretty simple themes of we met each other and our lives became great. That kind of thing. If you like it, you like it. Father figure. When I found you, you were young, wayward, lost in the cold. Pulled up to you in the Jag. Turned your rags into gold. There's just like these little hip-hop accents that are thrown in here. I pulled up to you in the Jag. Again, the luxury stuff, like it just feels like, you know, this is a songwriter who is kind of hailed as being very relatable and is hailed as being humble and sweet. And I get it, like, you know, you're trying to reflect what your life is and your life is exploiting people to make $1 billion. But it just feels like we're just throwing things on here to continue to emphasize to people that we are rich. The winding road leads to the chateau. You remind me of a younger me. I saw potential. So is this her speaking from another person's perspective, maybe? Yeah, maybe it is. Okay, it seems like it might be. Okay. I'll be your father figure. I drink that brown liquor. I can make deals with the devil because my dick's bigger. So I saw this line being quoted and bandied about on social media. Maybe she's speaking from the perspective of an exploitative man. I'm gonna see if that reading holds up through the rest of this. This love is pure profit. Just step into my office. I dry your tears with my sleeve. Leave it with me. I protect the family. Leave it with me. I protect the family. I pay the check before it kisses the mahogany grain. They say they want to see you rise, they don't want to see you reign. I showed you all the tricks of the trade. All I asked for is your loyalty, my dear protege. I'll be your father figure. I drink that brown liquor, etc. Then the bridge. I saw a change in you, my dear boy. They don't make loyalty like they used to. Your thoughtless ambitions sparked the ignition of foolish decisions, which led to misguided visions, that to fulfill your dreams, you had to get rid of me. I protect the family. So that reading would make sense to me, just as a quick look. We get this, whose portrait's on the mantle, who covered up your scandals, mistake my kindness for weakness and find your card canceled. This is not the last time the word canceled and the concept of cancellation will come up here. I was your father figure, you pulled the wrong trigger, this empire belongs to me. So I don't hate this, but it's also, to me, it seems like a reference to, again, like her issues with like record labels, with Scooter Braun, with Big Machine. And I'm not against you talking about it as much as you want to talk about it, but the only thing I'll say is that there's a bit of a way that she's kind of hammered that home a lot and used it to, again, put herself as like a sympathetic figure. I have no doubt she was exploited by many people. Her father seems like, for instance, a real shit person. I just think that when you look at this from the concept of evaluating Taylor Swift's work and who it's packaged to, right? Which it's packaged to her fan base that eat her up, that are really interested in the fan service and the lore. It just feels like more of the kind of thing to reinforce, see how sympathetic of a figure I am, because these are remember what these men did to me, and the record labels, and how bad they did me, right? So I don't have a problem with the song in and of itself. If you like it, you like it. Again, same thing with everything else. But for me, the context of this makes it hit a little less. And if that's not the actual reading of this song, where it's like her speaking kind of as a character, then I don't know if the song has any merit lyrically. Because if she's just being unironic, then I'm really scared. But I don't think she is, you know. So cool. Like, just keep making songs like this, Taylor. What's next? Eldest daughter. Okay. I think I know what's coming. Everybody's so punk on the internet. Everyone's unbothered till they're not. Every joke's just trolling and memes. Sad as it seems, apathy is hot. I already don't like this. I already don't like when songwriters take this angle. I don't like it. I don't like when famous people do this shit. I get that there's toxicity on the internet. I will speak to you about it all day. I was just speaking about it recently. I get that people can be unbothered and pretend that they're unbothered, and that's not great. For you, as a billionaire pop singer, to be preaching about how everybody's so punk on the internet, apathy is hot, that feels to me like condescending. And again, I don't know exactly where this is going, but I'm already not liking where it's starting. Everybody's cutthroat in the comments. Every single hot take is cold as ice. When you found me, I said I was busy. That was a lie. It's uncomfortable because she's a billionaire. Thank you so much, Zig. I don't know what this is a reference to. When you found me, I said I was busy. That was a lie. I have been afflicted by a terminal uniqueness. I've been dying just from trying to seem cool, but I'm not a bad bitch. And this isn't savage, but I'm never gonna let you down. I'm never gonna leave you out. So many traitors, smooth operators, but I'm never gonna break that vow. I'm never gonna leave you now. This just feels really insufferable. This is just like these lines. I've been afflicted by a terminal uniqueness. I've been dying just from trying to seem cool, but I'm not a bad bitch. And this isn't savage, but I'm never gonna let you down. You know, I'm trying so hard to be this cool, edgy person, but you know what? It turns out, sadly, that I have empathy. Isn't that so bad? Okay. You know, the last time I laughed this hard was on the trampoline in somebody's backyard. I must have been 8 or 9. That was the night I fell off and broke my arm. Pretty soon I learned cautious discretion. When your first crush crushes something kind. When I said I don't believe in marriage, that was a lie. So this is going in a different direction now. This is an interesting literary frame to start a verse. The last time I laughed this hard was on the trampoline in somebody's backyard. Talking about, I feel light now. But what is it that she feels light about? It's a little bit ambiguous. I learned cautious discretion when your first crush crushes something kind. So yeah, she grows up and the cold world sort of beats her down. When I said I don't believe in marriage, that was a lie. This line is kind of fan servicey, and it just doesn't feel like it ties in with what you're doing storytelling wise. You know, this starts off on a cool note, right? This is an interesting way to start a verse literarily. The last time I laughed this hard was on the trampoline in somebody's backyard. And then the second part of it is just like rushed. I must have been 8 or 9. That was the night I fell off and broke my arm. Pretty soon I learned cautious discretion. Okay. When your first crush crushes something kind. When I said I don't believe in marriage, that was a lie. It just feels like I don't like where that went. Yeah, you're kind of basically saying I learned to be cautious, similar to what you said at the start of the album with poor Ophelia. I learned to be cautious, and I was brokenhearted by boys before, and that's why I said I don't believe in marriage. That was a lie. That's kind of like the story that she's telling. But it's such an uninteresting way to talk about what you've been through. I want to hear more about that journey that you've gone on. I want to hear more about taking from this moment how you're feeling light again. What kinds of things, like besides just a boy broke your heart and you're cautious, what kinds of things put you in that cautious disposition? Like as a song, standing alone, it's just not telling me much. She took all the song titles from trending terms on TikTok. We already know that's the case. Like we know that like lines like "I'm not a bad bitch" and "This isn't savage" are like inspired by seeing what people are saying online and then repurposing them into like little songs. Every eldest daughter was the first lamb to the slaughter. So eldest daughter, right? TikTok thing, big social media topic, right? So we all dressed up as wolves and we looked fire. That's a terrible line. That's a terrible line. Like, again, you're misappropriating this AAVE and this quote unquote TikTok speak to essentially put yourself in antagonism toward it. It's just weird. It's really weird energy. It's giving you think you're better than people. It's giving a little anti-black, and it's giving I'm taking TikTok trends and then I'm applying them through the lens of the same story that I keep pushing to my fans of, you know, my sympathetic character protagonist story. We lie back, a beautiful, beautiful time lapse. Ferris wheels, kisses, and lilacs, and things I said were dumb. Because I thought that I'd never find that beautiful, beautiful life that shimmers that innocent life back, like when we were young. Every youngest child felt they were raised up in the wild, but now you're home. I don't know if Travis Kelce's the youngest child. I know he's younger than his brother, Jason Kelce. So maybe that's her doing this again. But it's just like, how many songs in a row are we going to do this? This feels like the equivalent of the Chance the Rapper, The Big Day album for Taylor Swift. I know everybody has already been talking about that because Chance the Rapper made a cool comeback recently. But people jumped off the Chance the Rapper bandwagon in part because he just made his whole image and identity. I'm a wife guy. I got married. Isn't it great that I got married? Look at how much better I am than you, honestly, because I got married. And this is a similar thing. I mean, we've gotten, 5 songs in a row of Taylor Swift just being like, and Travis, like, honestly, I love you and I'm married now and I'm happy. Can you believe that I'm happy? Isn't it great that I'm happy because I'm married to Travis? With like fragments of things that are cool or potentially could be cool interspersed in just the same fan service. I got the happy ending fan service, you know? Oh, do I have to keep going? Ruin the friendship. I'm so glad Chance went back to good music after that whole debacle. Really just feels like she ran out of ideas for this one. I mean, it feels rushed, right? Track 6, Ruin the Friendship. Glistening grass from September rain. Gray overpass full of neon names. You drive 85. Gallatin Road in the lakeside beach, watching the game from your brother's Jeep, your smile miles wide. Sure, fine. And it was not an invitation. Should have kissed you anyway. Should have kissed you anyway. And it was not convenient, no, but your girlfriend was away. Should have kissed you anyway. Hey. I mean, this is fine. Shiny wood floors underneath my feet. Disco ball makes everything look cheap. Have fun, it's prom. Wilted corsage dangles from my wrist. Over his shoulder I catch a glimpse and see you looking at me. And it was not an invitation, but as the 50 Cent song played, should have kissed you anyway. I think this is a little bit kitschy, but whatever. And it was not convenient. Would have been the best mistake. Should have kissed you anyway. Don't make it awkward in second period. Might piss your ex off. Lately we've been good. Staying friends is safe. Doesn't mean you should. Don't make it awkward in second period. Might piss your ex off. Lately we've been good. Staying friends is safe. Doesn't mean you should. This is fine. When I left school, I lost track of you. Abigail called me with the bad news. Goodbye, and we'll never know why. It was not an invitation, but I flew home anyway with so much left to say. It was not convenient, no, but I whispered at the grave. Should have oh, you died? No! That's so sad. Oh, there you go. A little storytelling. Should have kissed you anyway. And it was not an invitation, da-da-da. And then post-chorus. Oh, I've never heard of a post-chorus before. My advice is to always ruin the friendship. Better that than regret it for all time. Should have kissed you anyway. And my advice is to always answer the question. Better that than to ask it all your life. Should have kissed you anyway. This is cool. This is fine. I don't really like the 50 Cent line. It feels very immature in a sense. Not immature. I don't like the 50 Cent line because, I don't know, it just feels just a little kitschy to me personally. It reminds me of the Miley Cyrus song, you know, the one. But overall, you know, this is fine. This is probably the best written thing I've seen so far, and I'm sure the music of it is good too. So score 0.1 for Taylor Swift. Jasmine says Taylor is only good at storytelling lyrics IMO, storytelling about other people, not herself. I agree with that. I think when she's written well on this album, it's been her talking about from the perspective of that record executive or that slimeball person, and then from the perspective of looking back on this experience with another person and this friend that eventually died. So those are like places where it seems like she's drawn some decent inspiration from. And she hasn't overcomplicated it by trying to make it sound super deep by adding big words. But the Travis Kelce songs on here feel like she's writing about Travis Kelce and using big words to try to sophisticate what otherwise seem like very shallow songs. Okay, so now we have Actually Romantic. I heard you call me boring Barbie when the cokes got you brave. So this is the classy to trashy pipeline we've gone on. We just talked about, you know, we just went from talking about a friend passing away who you should have tried to kiss. Interesting little song, you know, moving, whatever. And we're going straight to dissing Charlie XCX. High-fived my ex and then you said you're glad he ghosted me. Wrote me a song saying it makes you sick to see my face. Some people might be offended, but it's actually sweet. All the time you've spent on me, it's honestly wild. All the effort you've put in, it's actually romantic. I really gotta hand it to you. No man has ever loved me like you do. Does Travis know that? Because apparently Travis has set you right. Apparently Travis has loved you more than anybody has ever loved you. This is about Charlie XCX. I'm not going to get into the beef or whatever here. Essentially, Charlie made a song that was supposed to be about her feeling insecure near Taylor Swift, and then Taylor Swift took that as a diss track. That seems to be what the takeaway is. This is really mean. I'm not sure it's merited at all from what I'm hearing. It's also giving... I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. Oh, me? I'm not mad. What's the drill tweet? Hold on, let me find the drill tweet. It's this tweet here. I'm not owned. I continue to insist as I slowly shrink and transform into a corn cob. It's that one. Because when you're insisting about how like, oh, that's actually sweet. Like I'm actually not bothered at all, but also I'm going to talk about it publicly. And not only that, I'm going to make it a big song. Just admit that you're bothered, right? Like people will leave me mean comments sometimes, or even just critical comments that bother me, that make me a little bit upset. And even when I don't address them, yeah, they might make me upset, you know? Sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do. I might still try to act as mature as possible in the face of that, but I get bothered, right? You're suspecting that Charlie XCX is talking shit about you behind your back. You've decided to go public with this, even though there's no reason for the public to believe you. You know, we've not been given the evidence of this at all. Wrote a song saying it makes you sick to see my face is a really disingenuous way to describe the song that Charlie XCX made, so that just further diminishes your credibility here. But sure, make a diss track. Just don't pretend like, oh, I'm not bothered at all though. You know, it's very Drake behavior. Hadn't thought of you in a long time. I'm sure not. I'm sure you haven't. But you keep sending me funny valentines. And I know you think it comes off vicious, but it's precious, adorable. Like a toy chihuahua barking at me from a tiny purse. That's how much it hurts. Chihuahuas are loud, bro. I guess it's a toy chihuahua, so it's even less intimidating. How many times has your boyfriend said, why are we always talking about her? You think I'm tacky, baby? Stop talking dirty to me. Ugh, it's gross. It sounded nasty, but it feels like you're flirting with me. I mind my business. God's my witness that I don't provoke it. It's kind of making me wet. So this is just like the most generous of interpretations, is that this is a song for people who are feeling this way but don't want to say it publicly. But, you know, it just fails on those counts because you've clearly made it about you. Clearly are referring to Charlie XCX because you're talking about the song. And all of these pretensions of I'm not bothered by this, then like getting really hypersexual about it. It feels like, you know what she did? She listened to My Kink is Karma, and she was like, I'm gonna do that, but about Charlie XCX. I'm gonna do it about a brown woman who's is she queer? I don't know if she's queer. It just really, really misses the mark, especially for people who don't already give you credibility. Because let me tell you, if you think you're offended now, I got wind of somebody. Do not be prepared to leave your chair when you hear this. I got wind of somebody saying that this is the equivalent of what Kendrick Lamar did to Drake. Like, this is her Not Like Us. Nothing could be more offensive to me. But I think it's an interesting thing to bring up because Kendrick Lamar had a years-long feud with Drake. Kendrick Lamar and his disses of Drake was very clear about what irritated him about Drake, about how much he hated him, how much he disliked him, all the things that he thinks are morally wrong that Drake does, including pedophilia. And in this case, Taylor Swift is trying to stir the pot, but she hasn't named anything that this person has done wrong other than potentially talk shit about her behind her back, has clearly misinterpreted this person's song, and then is pretending to not be bothered by this person at all otherwise. So there's nothing resembling what Kendrick Lamar did with Drake, and I think saying that is racist. I'm just going to say that. I think saying that is just racist. You're seeing the reverence that people give this black rapper who is an accredited lyricist, an acclaimed lyricist, for dissing somebody, and you're trying to give that shine to Taylor Swift for doing something that is not comparable at all. You're trying to give her the flowers that she definitely doesn't deserve by comparing her to someone who has done something completely different. This ain't Not Like Us, this is Bigfoot. Literally, like, this is closer to Bigfoot than anything else. That's racist. I'm sorry, that's just racist. Like, talk about black artists having to do 10 times as much to get the same amount of credit. Like, that's a crazy thing to say. I'm sorry. And just this is gross. This is weird. You know that people are going to hear this song, that the song is going to come out and people are going to be like, she's talking about Charlie XCX. And not only do you not take the time to actually think about what Charlie XCX was actually saying in her song, but you're basically like sexually harassing her in the bridge over some private shit, which, if I took your word for it, still could have been handled privately. And if you actually didn't care about it, if you actually think it's sweet or whatever, then you wouldn't be like, my next move is to publicly humiliate and sexually harass this woman. That's wild. That's wild. And I think people can say, oh, you're making it too deep, you know, you're the guy who's too woke or whatever. But that's just, imagine being somebody like Charlie XCX. Imagine being somebody and hearing like someone randomly misinterpret your song, write a diss track about you, pretend that they don't hate you, and in the bridge to talk about, it actually makes me wet how much you hate me. Like, I would be grossed the fuck out. And like, imagine being a Charlie XCX in person and encountering Swifties, right? That's just not okay. That's just not okay. Okay, moving on. Wish list with the $2 signs in it. They want that yacht life under chopper blades. They want those bright lights and Balenci shades and a fat ass with a baby face. They want it all. They want that complex female character. They want that critical smash Palme d'Or and an Oscar on their bathroom floor. They want it all. And they should have what they want. They deserve what they want. Hope they get what they want. I just want you. Have a couple kids, got the whole block looking like you. So I'm going to stop here for a second. You spent multiple songs on this album talking about this expensive restaurant you're going to in Hollywood and this expensive place you're staying in Italy and the view that you can't forget. And remember what happened? I can't say it on the song though. You're doing all of this flexing. And then you have the nerve, the unmitigated gall to make a song about how you don't want anything except your man. You know what? You don't want that yacht life. You fly a private jet everywhere. But this is exactly the kind of thing that rich conservative white women do, right? When people make this comparison and when people say this and Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala, so she's not conservative. I'm not saying she's conservative. But this is the kind of shit that, as somebody noted, you know, in the chat, this is what I call suburban white conservative, right? You pretend you are so much better than people, so much less vain than them, and everybody knows that you are as vain as anybody in the world, that you are very interested in luxury, classic luxury, in fact, the most unattainable things, you know, and you drape yourself in terms of luxury and aesthetics of luxury. And then you have the nerve to be like, you know, these people are so shallow, they just want their big butts and their Balenci shades, right? Which, like, come on. Coming in late, has he read Wood? No, not yet. Why she couldn't say jet life? Yeah, she couldn't say jet life. Okay, so the chorus, I just want you, have a couple kids, got the whole block looking like you. We tell the world to leave us the fuck alone and they do. Got me dreaming about a driveway with a basketball hoop. Oh my gosh. Suburban white. Boss up, settle down, got a wish list. I just want you. You do not dream about a driveway with a basketball hoop. You dream about Elizabeth Taylor, white diamonds. I mean, look, you can take it, whatever, consistency across songs. I'm sure everybody has songs. Everybody famous has songs that contradict each other in message. But especially what she's pointing at as aspirational. I'm going to highlight this line for a second. I'm going to get a little too woke here. Have a couple kids, got the whole block looking like you. So how does that work? Like, you're having 2 kids or a couple of kids, which is no more than 4, I'm presuming. And then the whole block looks like you. So do you just not live in a neighborhood at all? But you have a driveway? You wouldn't have a driveway. You would have a parking lot if you just live by yourself. And the whole block looks like you because it's only you. Like, are you saying you just want to live about... are you saying you... I'm going to say it. Are you saying you just want to live around a bunch of white people? Like, is that what you're saying? Like, the whole block is looking like you because all of us have our basketball hoops in our driveway and everybody's white. The whole block? Giving Sydney Sweeney vibes, if you know what I mean. It is like, these are the kinds of things that even if she doesn't support, her MAGA fan base, which she wields her white ambiguity to keep in line, will definitely make TikToks lip syncing to that, talking about their MAGA husbands. It just feels like fascism. You're right, Essa. It just feels like you can smell MAGA fascism in the air here. We don't talk about what's going on in the world. We don't talk about people who are less fortunate than us, quote unquote. We don't talk about, love from the perspective that other people can relate to, aside from once or twice maybe. We don't talk about anything. But what we do talk about is the aspiration of having a couple of kids by a man you love and living in suburbia with a driveway and a basketball hoop. They want that freedom, living off the grid. They want those 3 dogs that they call their kids, and that good surf, no hypocrites. They want it all. They want a contract with Real Madrid. They want that spring break that was fucking lit. I hate that line. I know it's ironic. I still hate it. And then that video taken out the internet. They want it all. And they should have what they want. They deserve what they want. I just want you. Otherwise, very innocuous, very normal songwriting setup. The things you're describing as aspirational are coded, and you're also contradicting yourself. I made wishes on all the stars. Please God, bring me a best friend who I think is hot. I thought I had it right once, twice, but I did not. You caught me off my guard. I mean, just like stop. You're not forced to talk about your exes every time you talk about your current partner. Let me repeat it again for the people in the back. You are not forced to talk about your exes in order to talk about your current partner. This is like the 3rd or 4th time that she's done this. You do not have to talk about how your exes were bad. You do not have to talk about how you had your heart broken before. You can just talk about what's cool about the person. You haven't told me anything that's cool about him. You haven't told me sweet things that he does behind the scenes. You haven't told me about what you think about when you look in his eyes. You haven't told me any of that stuff. All you keep telling me about Travis Kelce is that he's who you love, as opposed to these other people who you thought you loved but you actually didn't. That's wild. That tells me that you're more interested in performing this to your exes than you are interested in actually building that life and that love with your current partner. That's what that tells me. I'm not saying that that's your reality. That might not be your truth. But when you use that over and over again, if you talk to your friend and your friend is like, talking about how they love their partner, and all that they ever talk about is, you remember Josh? I thought I loved him, but I don't. You talk to your friend and you ask them, what do you love about your boyfriend? And they're like, he's just so great. He's hot and he's my best friend. And, it's way better than what I had before. Honestly, like I was heartbroken before, but now I'm happy. You're going to think this motherfucker's not over it. You are not over it. Whew. I'm just going to keep going. Wood. Daisy's bare naked. I was distraught. He loves me not. He loves me not. Again, what? How do you keep going back to this well? Daisy's bare naked. I was distraught. He loves me not. He loves me not. Penny's unlucky. I took him back, and then I stepped on a crack, and the black cat laughed. Oh, the bad luck that I have. The bad luck that I used to have before I met you. And baby, I'll admit I've been a little superstitious. Fingers crossed until you put your hand on mine. Seems to be that you and me, we make our own luck. A bad sign is all good. I ain't gotta knock on wood. This is not the only way to talk about how you love a person. You're not talking about the person themselves. All you're talking about is what you dated before, who you dated before, what your life was like before. That means you're focused on how your life was before. It means that you don't care as much about the person that's in your life now as you do about what he means in the context of the narrative that you have about yourself. All of that bitching, wishing on a fallen star never did me any good. I ain't gotta knock on wood. It's you and me forever dancing in the dark. All over me, it's understood. I ain't gotta knock on wood. If someone talks about me like that, I don't think I would make it, not gonna lie. Me too, essay. Like if I had a partner, my partner only talked about their exes to other people when they were asked about me. Not very good. Sorry, I just read something, but I'm not gonna. Forgive me, it sounds cocky. He matized me and opened my eyes. Redwood tree, it ain't hard to see. His love was the key that opened my thighs. Get me out of here. And what's crazy is that at least she's talking about something about Travis Kelce. I'll give her that. She's finally, all these songs in, talking about Travis Kelce himself and not the aesthetic of dating Travis Kelce. He has a big dick, apparently. Great. I'm so glad to know that that's true. Girls, I don't need to catch the bouquet to know a hard rock is on the... Enough! I take it back. I do not give you credit for this. Stop talking about his dick. God, this is so... Ugh, if I was Travis Kelce, I would feel so uncomfortable. Imagine your partner is talking about you in the album. This is my love album. It's my dedication to you. And the only things that they say about you is that it's great that you're here because their exes were bad and you have a big dick and you're hot. I would be distraught. I would be calling my friends. I would be like, guys, did I make a mistake? It's hard being ace in this world. I'm so sorry to my ace friends and my ace followers, bro. This is crazy. Oh my God, it keeps going. And baby, I'll admit I've been a little superstitious. The curse on me was broken by your magic wand. Oh man, seems to be that you and me, we make our own luck. New heights of manhood. I ain't got a knock on wood. Taylor, we know that you're aping Sabrina Carpenter. We know you're copying Sabrina Carpenter. Is aping the right word? Yes, that was the right word. We know that you're copying Sabrina Carpenter because she makes a lot of dick jokes and all of her songs are like these continuous puns about sexual things. You are not Sabrina Carpenter. You are a billionaire. You fly a private jet everywhere. You are 36. Please talk about something meaningful. Even if it's ironic, even if you're gonna have fun. Oh, okay, you're having fun. Fine. This is not the way to do it. I'm sorry, it's just not. My takeaway is if I'm Travis Kelce, I'm scared. Forgive me, it sounds cocky. All right, that's the end of the song. This is, okay, this back to back, because I've heard a little bit of this one. Travis Kelce apparently describes this as a banger. Is Travis Kelce MAGA? Let's just... I guess we don't know. Sabrina does this the right way. She's authentic. I think she's more authentic than this. Okay. You thought that it would be okay at first. The situation could be saved, of course, but they'd already picked out your grave and hearse. Beware the wrath of masked crusaders. Oh, these evil people out there, they're gonna get you. Did you girl boss too close to the sun? You don't have to look on TikTok comments, find things that people are saying over and over again, and then put them in your songs. You don't have to do that. You don't have to. You know, write more about like your exes, since you still have so many things to think about them. Write more about your, you know, specific friends. Like, you don't have to. Ugh. Okay. Did they catch you having far too much fun? So this is giving, you know, a lot of this discourse that's about women and celebrity and how they're mistreated by the public and how they're mistreated by the press. It can fall into these traps of completely victimizing grown women who are very rich and oftentimes do bad things. And we know that Taylor Swift is good friends with Brittany Mahomes, who is MAGA, like who is a Trump supporter. All I'm saying is, with that context, when you're not describing the person and you're just going back to this well of kind of self-victimization, putting two and two together, people are going to be like, well, maybe she's talking about your MAGA. Maybe she's talking about she's MAGA and people are judging her. People are judging her MAGA friends. Come with me, when they see us, they'll run. Something wicked this way comes. Good thing I like my friends canceled. I like them cloaked in Gucci and in scandal. I'm quitting. I'm signing off, man. I can't do this anymore. I'm exhausted. This album is... The lyrics of this album, even on the songs that have not been super controversial, I think reflect that Taylor Swift is lacking things to write about. They reflect that Taylor Swift is insulating herself and that she's not actually in love with Travis or in love with her own life. It feels like she's constantly perceiving how other people are thinking about her and writing about that. She's constantly focused on other people's perceptions of her. Every single record on this album, except for like 2. Oh, they treat you this way. They look at you this way. She's constantly thinking about how other people in the past have done her, have perceived her. She's constantly thinking about her narrative and how she can be perceived. It is not an album that I'm interested in. And I think people are very fair to say that some of these things are coated with imagery and with disdain towards regular people towards people of color in ways that are not direct, but in ways that show that she's losing her grip on white ambiguity. Like, she's not able to play the game as well as she used to. Good thing I like my friends canceled. She's so focused on trying to be catty and be vicious and be spicy. And when you're in that place, it's usually because either you're looking to try to build attention, or it's because you're unhappy and you're lashing out at people. To me, an album about how you're unhappy with the life that you have, even though everything seems great, would be really interesting if it was honest. But the fact that it is instead working to try to tell people how they should perceive her, working to build a narrative of who she is as this damsel in distress, as this victimized person, as Ophelia, of all the literary figures, it gives that you don't actually have self-awareness. It's really, really bad when, as a lyricist, people have found that you're lacking self-awareness. It's a really, really bad sign. I've always felt like at times Taylor Swift is like this, and it feels like it's getting worse. And I just don't understand. You know, there's so much great music out there. Why don't folks branch out and find music that they can actually connect with, you know? The YouTube algorithm can be really great at recommending indie music to you. You know, a lot of social media algorithms are good at that. Like, there's just so many interesting artists. And for Taylor Swift to just be flooding every social media app. You go on TikTok and it's like there's a partnership with Taylor Swift that I have to decide if I'd like to give my data to. What is this for? Anyway, here's some folks that I actually want to bring some attention to instead. While we have just a little bit of time, I'm just going to show you guys some artists I think you should listen to. Nemesis. Great Palestinian singer-songwriter. She's from Canada. Has done some genuinely bold things and had genuine like rejection based off of like racism in the music industry. Check her stuff out, okay? Samia. I like Samia a lot. Check out Samia. She has a record called Cinderblock she just dropped. She did a Tiny Desk concert that's really good. How Long Do I Have Left with My Dog? That song. That's her. Check out Samia. I'm trying to think of like non-rappers, because if you like Taylor Swift, you know, maybe some other stuff that's melodic might be interesting to you. Like, I mean, rap is melodic these days. It's very melodic, but just trying to think of like similar artists. But Nourished by Time, not necessarily similar to Taylor Swift, but I love Nourished by Time. Really good pop music if you like pop music, but very indie, very danceable, very sharp, very creative. Those are some artists. You know, I also want to give a shout out to Ahmed Sarsour, a friend of mine. This is a poet from Gaza and Sudan who is writing poetry and sharing it with people from Gaza. Please take a look at his page. This Crocodile Tears poem is very cool. Take a look at it. Donate to him. He needs your donations. Lots of great artists. Lots of people have made great suggestions to great artists in the chat. So I thank them for that. And I will be checking out some of your recommendations too. I don't actually know who Yule is, for example, but Creative Art Adele says that they're really good. So I'll take a look. What is that, Yule? Yule? Okay, that's about it. I'm tired. I could keep going. I could keep talking, but I'm just tired. I'm just going to sign off. Goodbye.